Live from the Washington, D.C. area, it's the Inside Scoop. All the news that our viewers want to know. Now, here's the host.
Hi folks, Cesar here, back in Studio C. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. 'Tis the season. We're a week out from Christmas, so I hope everything's merry in your world. We've got a special, great show tonight. A couple great topical guests. Full disclosure, my first guest is a personal friend of mine. He's a great attorney. I've used him several times. He has really devoted his career to helping others, fighting for all sorts of causes that align with my values. But he's on the show this evening to talk about Reston Association. He just happens to be on the board. In fact, he is the president of the board of the Reston Association. Please welcome my good friend, Mr. John Farrell. Sir, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thank you for inviting me, Cesar. You're very kind.
Where can we start? Where can we start? Besides, I love the hat, love the look. Ho, 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 sir.
Well, Reston's normal colors are hunter green, but
Okay.
you all told me that, you know, with the studio,
Yeah, it won't work.
can't wear green.
Studios,
so
yeah.
we went with the seasonal.
Awesome, awesome.
So lots of folks, including members of the Board of Supervisors, don't understand Reston.
That's why I wanted to have you on. Let's talk about all the things that are going on in Reston these
So
days.
we're a community of 63,000 people.
It's
We
big.
live in 24,000 different homes. 9,000 are townhouses. Another 9,000 are multifamily. And we only have 4,000 single-family homes, and they're on small lots.
Mm-hmm.
We have 1,350 acres of open space. That includes 4 lakes and 2 ponds. 55 miles of trail, which is the most, it's the amenity that most people use. 15 pools, 54 tennis courts, and I could go on. But the numbers would, get crushing. But it's a large community. We have a budget of $23 million a year. We have 107 full-time employees, and then another 300 in the summer as the lifeguards and the grounds people get added over the year.
Yeah, no, and I gotta disclose, I do own property in Reston.
You do?
So, in a way, you're a representative, and I've helped you in many ways to get that role. So, thank you for allowing me to support you. I had to get that disclosure out there.
Very good.
So, what's the highest? I mean, I think I know the answer to this. What's the biggest thing that the association is facing today?
Today, our biggest threat is that one of our developers in Reston, unfortunately, is struggling and thinks that having a casino in Reston is the best way to bail him out from his troubles. And so last year, Senator Marsden introduced a bill to amend the casino legislation to allow the county to have a referendum. And the way the bill was written, it basically was putting a target on Reston. It said that the casino had to be outside the Beltway, on the Silver Line, not under the Dulles flight path.
So, in this little square box,
That's right.
and for the folks that weren't aware, this happened last year in the
Right.
General Assembly. Okay.
Correct.
All right.
And our then beloved Senator Howell persuaded Senator Marsden that that bill needed to be withdrawn. There's been redistricting, so we're going to have new senators and no delegates, new delegates. Sorry. Jennifer Boysko is now the senator for Reston. She's made it very clear she opposes a casino. Karen Keyes-Gamarra has succeeded Ken Plum, representing us in the House of Delegates. She's made it clear that she opposes a casino there. We have, I think, all told in Northern Virginia, or in Fairfax, strike that, 30 members of the House of Delegates in the state Senate together. And out of those 30, I would say to you 23 or 24 have already told us that they're against having a casino in the county, not just in Reston.
So just for the viewers, what are the pros and cons that are being said about why it's a good idea versus why it's a bad idea? Just
Well, the folks that propose a casino believe that it would, they point to the fact that like $165 million or something like that is being spent at the MGM Grand across the river in Prince George's County.
Yeah.
And they say, hey, we've got to do things to improve the state's balance sheet. What's important to keep in mind—
The state's balance sheet.
The state,
Not
the Commonwealth, not Fairfax County,
Okay.
not Reston.
Okay.
Okay.
And not Herndon in the ethereal discussion.
Right.
Okay.
And that's what's important, is that we're talking about an activity that has all of the negative elements generating tax revenue that fundamentally goes to Richmond. The county would get some real estate tax revenue, but you'd get that from a hotel. You're not going to get a whole lot more than you would get from any of the other uses.
Right.
Those of us who are opposed to it point out that we spent 4 years going through a replanning process for all of Reston, identifying tens of millions of square feet, hundreds of thousands of square feet of office space, thousands of new apartment houses that could be constructed on the in the area on either side of the toll road. So we're not saying no development at all. We're saying, hey, wait a second. We went through this process, 4 years, 58 community meetings, 2 public hearings in front of the Planning Commission, 2 public hearings in front of the Board of Supervisors, and not once did the developer proponent of this casino come to any of those meetings and say, hey, guess what? I want to have a casino here. For obvious reasons. Nobody wants a casino in Reston.
Yeah.
I mean, there are...
Well, the people that don't live in Reston.
Correct.
How's that work?
Nobody in Reston wants a casino that I've been able to come across.
Right.
I mean, Senator Serval, who is a proponent, and Senator Marsden, who is a proponent. Senator Serval lives over on Route 1.
Yeah, Route 1.
And Senator Marsden lives in Burke.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I keep saying to them, well, let's have a casino in Burke.
Sure.
Let's have a casino in the Huntington Metro Station is in Senator Serval's district.
Sure.
The Franconia Springfield Station is in Senator Serval's district. How about there?
Yeah, no, that'd be different. NIMBY, not in my backyard.
I even had a conversation over the weekend with the announcement from Governor Youngkin about, you know, an arena down in Alexandria, which I can't wait to see what the people in the city of Alexandria
that's a
have to
whole
say.
other topic. That's right. Let's do that in the next session.
That's right. But I said to Senator Serval, well, why don't you put your casino down next to the arena?
Oh, that'd be great.
I mean, there's some synergy there.
Yeah. Real high-paying jobs, by the way.
Yeah, as we both know. Yeah. The other problem we have is where the location that we understand it's going to be would be directly across the street from some of our townhouses, directly across the street from our some of the few single-family detached houses that we have, and so having that kind of juxtaposition of uses, you know, there's a reason why there aren't any clocks in a casino. They're going all day long. They're going all night long. And is that really the kind of traffic you want going on immediately adjacent to a residential neighborhood?
Yeah. Would the zoning even allow that?
Well, we've got some crazy answers right now. We saw a memorandum not that long ago from Brian Hill, the county executive, in which there was a suggestion that a casino could be introduced by right somewhere in Reston.
Really?
Meaning no hearing in front of the Planning Commission, no hearing in front of the Board of Supervisors. Just file your building permit and off you go. And
someone in the General Assembly is getting paid a lot of money. So
I mean, I'm questioning how did they get there? Because I'm fairly familiar, as you know, I do zoning and planning. I'm fairly familiar with the proffers and the plans and stuff like that. I can't see any property that's identified as public entertainment. So where can they do this by right again? No. Please let me know. I've actually asked the county executive to identify what property the county staff believes they can proceed by right, waiting for an answer.
So, again, I haven't kept up completely on it. So, where would it, in theory, be located where it would encompass everything, parking, I'm having trouble visualizing where it would be on what part of the access road. I mean, just...
You're not the only one struggling.
Okay.
Lots of us are struggling.
Okay.
Where we think the developer wants to put it is south of the toll road at the corner of Wheelie and Sunrise Valley. There's some old 1980s vintage office buildings. And as we all know, that kind of office building has kind of seen its day. And so that kind of an office park, a lot of them are empty. We have 30 million square feet of office space in the county that's empty. And
it's a huge problem in the region, quite frankly.
Right, it's a regional problem. We think that's where the developer wants to put it, which is why I say across the street from it are townhouses and single-family houses. That's where we think it wants to go. But again, 58 meetings, 4 meetings in front of the government, and not a word. Not a word. And so it's kind of like, why are we pulling a back door here? I mean, you have a community that's open to development that fits within what Reston has been. And so why are we backdooring this? Why can't you come forward and tell us what you want? And kind of the answer is that developer knows that the community would not support it.
Well, and that was going to be like where I was going with this, public comments. Where are they? How many? I mean, have there been, are they that aware of it? Generally, most people don't know what's going on.
Well, I don't know to what degree the community is aware of it. We have engaged a lobbying firm to represent us. We've never had to do that before. We're going to do it now.
Reston Association.
Reston Association has hired somebody to speak on their behalf down in Richmond during this session. We also today signed a contract with a communications firm to get the word out and to help us frame the message so that people understand what we're up to and what the issue is coming down the pike. You know, our hope is that this bill doesn't even get out of committee, but when the prior version of the bill said have to be outside the Beltway, have to be on the Silver Line, can't be under the...
the only thing that was excluded was the address.
Yeah,
right.
I mean, that's what you would have expected to see.
Wow. Okay, let's table that because I do want to move on to other stuff, but we got a break coming up here soon. The next hot topic that we want to cover.
Well, we've made some major changes in our budget. We have told, we got a lot of feedback. For the last 10 years or so, people have had to pay to get their, in addition to paying their assessment, they all had to buy pool passes. And the pool passes didn't do much except keep people from using our pools, especially families, because every one of them had to buy it.
Okay, so when we come back, for the folks that are in Reston, I'm one of them. I'm anxious to hear what Mr. Farrell has to tell us. So come back after this break and we'll talk about the upcoming dues and other good stuff going on in Reston. So join us right back. Thanks.
I can't believe we broke Old Man Hennessy's window.
Correction, dude. You broke. I just threw the ball.
This is really bad. What are we gonna do?
We?
Go to the door, ask for the ball back.
Are you serious?
It's my ball, Myrtleback.
You're so dead.
I'd run away.
Yeah, to Uruguay.
Kiss your life goodbye. Sorry.
Let's go.
Yeah, remember me and your well.
Nice one. Some friends you are.
Hi.
Hi.
Tell him it was an accident. And we can fix the window. Come on. I'll come with you.
Loyalty. Pass it on.
You go first.
A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
One day these rats were playing in the woods. Well, it's a matches and that's no good. Listen to smoke before you give it a try. Only you. Don't play with matches. Don't play with fire. Cause there's nothing very funny about nothing very nice on a homeless mind. So if a gorgeous force is what you desire, don't play with matches. Don't play with fire.
Only you can prevent wildfires.
Fire.
Awkward. I'm the awkward silence. You try to avoid me, then there I am again.
But an awkward silence can be a great thing.
Like Kelly here is about to demonstrate.
You haven't really been yourself lately. Are you okay?
Find out how you can help a friend with their mental health at seizetheawkward.org.
We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Hi folks, Cesar back here in Studio C with you, and my special guest, dear friend, John Farrell, who happens to also be the president of the Reston Association, president of the board. Sir, thanks for hanging out.
Absolutely.
We were talking, you caught my ear there a little bit. Maybe a lot of people are going to be saving some money on pool passes?
That's right.
Perhaps, okay.
We made a decision to go back to the way it used to be. It used to be you paid your assessment and you came into the office and you got your pool passes and you went to the pool. And we've noticed that over the years, participation and use of our 15 pools has declined. And the amount of money we collected on those pools had a big impact on families, but really didn't put a big dent in our operating. So we, as a board, made a decision with the support of our CEO to eliminate the pool passes. And if you live in Reston, whether you're a tenant or if you're a owner, you come in, get your pool pass, and use the pool. We've also held our assessment down pretty low. It's $817 for this year. Across the county, it's like $1,500 for the year in most HOAs. We're at $817. Across the country, it's $3,500 per year to be in an HOA across America.
Jeez, really?
Yeah. So at $817, we're providing a hell of a bargain when you think about all the facilities that I talked about in the prior segment. So we're pretty happy that we've been able to hold our assessment down and at the same time enhance access to our most important facilities, our pools, our 15 pools.
Awesome.
So,
well, good. I'm sure families appreciate that, especially during.
Yeah, we're pretty pleased that we've been able to do, and at the same time not have our assessment go up to a very large degree. Yeah. So we keep down.
I'm an owner. I lease, rent out my property. I think Reston's a great place. So just happen to think Herndon's a little better. Just going to put that plug in there for Herndon. Go Herndon.
That's right. That's right.
But no. So what we got some other stuff going on there.
Yeah. Last week there's been a lot of concern voiced. We have a very unique air conditioning system that serves about 600 people in Reston, around Lake Ann. We literally use the lake water to provide air conditioning service to the 600 houses around the lake.
How's that working?
Not.
Okay.
It has not been working it's not been successful for a long time. And last week, the operator said that they were not going to operate the facility starting sometime in April. The problem for Reston Association is we have covenants that specifically require the people who live in those units to use that system. It's called RELAC. And we've had some people over time, we've allowed some people who have medical conditions to opt out and put in basically window air conditioning units. And how we deal with this problem with folks who aren't having a service anymore from RELAC, and at the same time, it's getting hotter and hotter every summer, and we have a lot of our older members live in these 600 units. It's part of the oldest part of Reston around Lake Ann. What do we do for these people, and how can RA, can we figure out a way to let them out from under the covenants, and what can we do to make sure that they're safe? I mean, the county opens up cooling centers in the summer when it gets too hot, and we don't need to have all these folks going into those cooling centers.
Does the covenants prohibit them from using the window units, or?
Correct.
Wow.
The covenants say that they must use the RELAC system. A lot of people will tell you the RELAC system is not very efficient and doesn't do a very good job of cooling. In order to get exempted from the covenant, you have to basically demonstrate that you have a medical condition that requires
you.
Yeah.
Wow.
So it's Robert Simon had a lot of great ideas, having a community in the early 1960s where anybody could live and there weren't racial covenants, like the rest of Fairfax County. That was a great idea.
Sure.
And there were lots of great ideas, having so much open space, having so many pools. this idea appears not to be working out for a whole lot of people.
If we want to come back and spend a lot of time, I have a historic overlay district I want to talk to you about. Great intentions, but unless you maintain those things over time, you have what's happening here. You have people trapped by an ordinance or covenant that has been out of date for a long time.
Well, we have the same problem, Cesar. I mean, the Lake Ann area is subject to a zoning historic district. And the supervisor has been having meetings with the community trying to figure out what to do with that property that, you know, it's 60 plus years old now. And trying to deal with the historic, the zoning created by a historic district to enable them to refresh and renew that property and make it commercially viable. That's not easy.
No.
And trying to figure out how to work it through.
They are opposed in terms
of...
Well,
they're advocates for the historic districts that would disagree. I tend to agree with you that it makes it much harder to be responsive to the evolution of a property and the current commercial.
Well, it's almost, the transformation's required. I mean, where that building, that property is today is not where it was 60 years ago.
Correct.
So what has changed over time? And look, the demographics have changed.
Right.
Technology has changed. Power requirements, consumption, all that stuff's changed. And it doesn't matter if it's historic or not. It's
and it gets compounded by the fact that, you know, there was a time when Lake Ann was kind of the heart of Reston. Those times have long passed. I mean, the heart of Reston now is the town center, and the town center isn't part of the association. They have their own association. So we have a friendly relationship, I hope Mr. Gowdy would describe it as, but the nature of that development, you know, and it's only what, 3 blocks away, has had a really adverse impact on Lake Ann and the commercial development around Lake Ann.
So what would it take to dissolve the sort of historic nature or covenants precluding people from using?
Right. Well, the historic district is a zoning ordinance, and like any zoning ordinance, as you know, being on the
majority
council,
votes
of the council. In this case, it would be a majority vote of the Board of Supervisors. How we deal with the covenants is an issue. Our covenants get renewed every 25 years or thereabouts, and our covenants are up for renewal.
Is that in the bylaws?
It's actually in the deed. We have a bylaw, and the bylaws can be amended by the board, but the deed gets ratified by referendum of the entire membership. And so there has to be an election, and there has to be a
quorum.
A quorum.
Yeah, good luck with that.
Yes. And so I mean, the last time we did it, we had to extend the voting period for several weeks because we weren't at quorum.
And so no one cares, or they don't pay attention. Well, because this is like real life stuff.
And as you and I both know, most people get energized and get involved in politics because they're against something.
Right.
And so if things are going along well, I had a political science professor said that don't get too upset about low turnout. It means they're happy. And so and so, I mean, to the extent that they're not upset with the way things are going, and if you have low turnout, they're pretty much satisfied. It's when they're not happy that you get higher turnouts. Now, others can take a different view, but I thought that insight was revealing. And so we will have to go through that process. Now, the last time we did it, it was a separate referendum, separate from our election. This time, I hope we can have the referendum ready to go, so it's part of it. Because running a referendum costs us $70,000. I mean, we have people, we can vote electronically, but as a part of that, we have to have a counting agent. We have to pay them, and we have to go through the process of mailing out the ballots to all 24,000 homes, and then going through the process of having a counting agent cover that.
With the time we have left, let's talk about your sounding like a town city. So What's happening there? Any plans? Any desires?
Well, I
any
have a bumper
discussions?
sticker I can give you.
Okay, sure.
So, in order to become a city, I'm not interested in town, because in a town, as you well know, you're fine. But in a town, you have to pay county taxes and town taxes.
Correct.
In a city, you don't.
Correct. But you have a lot more responsibility, obligation.
You do, but like the city of Fairfax has a contract with the school system. And so the school system, the county school system runs the schools for the city of Fairfax.
Okay.
You can do the same thing with police. You can have all of these things can be contracted with another agency if you want to do that. The city of Fairfax has their own police department. You can do the same thing with your fire and rescue. Should be the rescue and fire, because we have many more ambulance runs than we do fire runs.
So for the folks at home, a city would allow that group, that structure to keep the tax dollars.
Right.
Not go into the county.
Right.
The county's not going to like that.
The other thing a city would accomplish is there would be a unity of operation. Today, the town center is run separately from Reston Association, and the area 1 block on either side of the toll road, fundamentally, there's a little bumps around, but that area is not part of Reston Association either. So we don't get any assessment money from either town center or that stretch on either side of the toll road, unless the owner of the property voluntarily agrees to become part of RA. And some townhouse developers have, the apartment owners haven't, and that's 3,000 apartments. We have 30 apartment projects that are already part of RA, that they were part of it for a long time. We've had 3,000 units that aren't part of RA, and as a result of their not joining RA, our assessment is about $120 a year more than it needs to be. And we've asked the supervisor to be a little bit more aggressive in getting those apartment projects to join RA, so that because they use our trails, they're using our open space, they're using our ball fields, and yet they're not contributing anything to the maintenance of those facilities.
Interesting. Well, I mean, we've just scratched the surface of this. I would say I'm all in favor of self-determination. So freedom, self-determination. So for what it's worth, I think that would be a great thing. Put on the Herndon hat, you're competing with Herndon for revenue. I like a good competition. So that's what it's about. Sir, thank you so much, absolutely, for joining us.
Thank you so
much.
much.
Love to you and your family.
And you the same.
We will catch you up in the next year here soon.
Look forward to it.
Absolutely. Folks, stick around. We've got another set of guests coming back in, and look forward to speaking with you guys after the short announcement break here.
Hi. Hoping for a crisp breeze to help keep you alert. Oh, he took a sip of water too. That'll probably help. You were probably gonna turn down the radio too, so you could focus, right?
Probably okay isn't okay.
Right?
If you see a warning sign, stop and call a cab, a car, or a friend.
I think the water line is what really drove it home. I blew on him.
What's wrong with the world, mama? People living like they ain't got no mamas. I think the whole world's addicted to the drama, only attracted to things that'll bring the trauma. Yeah, madness is what you demonstrate, and that's exactly how anger works and operates. Man, you gotta have love just to set it straight. Take control of your mind and meditate. Let your soul gravitate to the love, y'all.
People killing, people dying, children hurt, and you hear them crying. When you practice what you preach, but you turn the other
Ma'am, you forgot your purse.
Oh, you don't know how worried I was. Thank you very much.
Hey.
Honesty. Pass it on.
Nice move, kid.
Donut?
A message from the Foundation for a Better Life.
When I was your age, I was just like you, fascinated by stars.
But
Now I get to search for life in the universe. And who knows, maybe life is looking for us too.
So we're like aliens to them?
Yeah. Does anyone want to be a scientist now?
I do.
Awesome. We need more girls in STEM.
Maybe we can find aliens.
We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Hi folks, Cesar here, back with you in Studio C this evening. My next guests, wanted to bring them on and talk to you all, get to know them a little bit better. They represent a great 501c. It's Stars and Stripes, Northern Virginia. They cater towards and target helping military families, veterans, first responders. So they're going to be on for a couple segments here. We're going to get to know them and find out more of what they're up to. So please welcome Mr. Boodski, Mr. Langer to
Thanks
the
for having
studio.
us.
Thank you so much for coming out. I wanted the folks to get to know you all, the committee, a little better about the mission, your vision on why you started this, and what sort of things you hope to accomplish. And then in the next segment, we can talk about all the wonderful events you've done, you've got planned, and for next year. So again, thank you for coming. High level, how did this come about? How did Stars and Stripes Northern Virginia come?
Stephen and I started out with Langer Consulting, which is a nonprofit consulting firm that helps other nonprofit organizations founded by veterans, for veterans and first responders and their families. And then about a year and a half ago, we had so many volunteers asking if they could help us, so we decided to put together the Stars and Stripes NOVA Committee, which included a lot of veterans and members of military families. They're all volunteers. And I'm a civilian, but I've done work with the Air Force, and I had an uncle in the Air Force and a cousin in the Marines, so I know what it's like to help other veterans, especially those that are disabled or are food insecure. And Stephen can tell you a little bit more about his background as a Marine vet.
Yeah, please, sir. Talk to us.
Yes, sir. Good afternoon, and thank you for the opportunity to be here today to talk a little bit about Stars and Stripes NOVA Committee. So I am the co-founder of Langer Consulting. As Mr. Phillips said, the primary mission here is to support CVIT, Center for Veterans in Transition, amongst other nonprofit organizations with federal and DoD grant writing capabilities. That in itself converts to money, resources to support PTSD, cancer, as well as research programs to help veterans in transition. My background, a couple of tours overseas, United States Embassy duties, North Africa, South America, and Caribbean, came back. In one piece, supported the Homeland Security mission after September 11th and Fort Meade, Maryland, last duty station. So I'm one of the co-chair on the Stars and Stripes NOVA Committee. We have 3 co-chairs, Mr. Phillip, as well as Colonel Zappella and myself. We also have a chair of the committee, Dr. Kristen Ball, who is not with us today, under the weather. Deputy Chair, Mr. Matt Kreider, great guy as well. Parsons Extreme Golf. They come from a military family out there, so a lot of 105 millimeter round we are bringing in to the theater.
Yeah. Big guns. Sure.
Yes, sir. To support
and
what we're doing.
First, real quick, thank you so much for your service.
Absolutely.
Welcome, sir.
Thank you so much. And thank you for what you all have started and seems to be progressing quite well.
Oh, it is. And, we believe that it takes a village to help community. And it's so great that all these volunteers came to us and said, yes, we want to be on your committee, whether they're corporate or they're veterans. It's been a great experience for us, and everybody's given their time really freely. We are also excited because we had so many corporations as well as individual donors who have helped us, not only with cash grants, but giving us donated food and clothing for this drive, because we're trying to get people to understand what's happening with veterans and also get enough funding to help with programs. As Stephen has said, we want to help with PTSD, mental health, physical health, adaptive sports, job training, and we believe in wraparound family services. So we always say, if a service member serves, their family serves. So we want to help them as well.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's such a big need. There's such a huge requirement for this. So I mean, how big is this? I mean, the need seems like overwhelming.
Well, it's really interesting. Everywhere in Herndon we've gone to, people have told us either they're vets or they know vets in their families. And, the one common denominator for all the vets that we've talked to is leaving their service and going into the civilian life is very difficult for the transition for everybody. Whether they want to admit it or not, whether they have PTSD or they need new job training, and that's why we want to help. We've talked to so many. And also what we are trying to do with the Stars and Stripes and also with Langer Consulting, we don't want to focus on just one service. We want to focus on the members of all the different services, as well as first responders, because as you probably know, many of the first responders are vets and their families. In fact, one time we were having lunch and we were talking to a client, and this woman said, I'm sorry to overhear, but I was one of the first female fighter pilots in the Navy, and I have to tell you, there are no programs for women vets, and we said we want to make that change. We want to help her.
Yeah, that's a great, noble, honorable thing. What sort of help are you needing or getting, or how's that kind of working?
Well, we're always looking for volunteers, whether they're veterans or not, to help us with the different events we have, and also to help us with securing donations. We are working with a couple of really major corporations who've not only given us grants, but they've given us food and clothing, and they've helped us since we've really founded Stars and Stripes with all of our different activities. And what's really great is a number of other nonprofits that help veterans have come to us, and they said, like what you were just saying, Cesar, it's such a big issue and there's such a big need. Why don't we collaborate? And we're saying that's one thing we really want to do.
So you mentioned the board. It could probably grow, right? But let's give a shout out or thanks to the sponsors, right? I mean, who are some of the sponsors that have been helping you? Do you have?
Yeah, well, we've worked with Harris Teeter here, Costco, Giant, PXG. We were very lucky that when we said we were doing this food and clothing distribution through one of our contacts in New York, Goya Food came through with 14,000 pounds of food, which was incredible. And then we also worked with the Washington Food Bank. They gave us 12,000 pounds of food. And we've also been very lucky because we've been working with retired General Ed Meese, and he's the head of AFMA, the big insurance company that works with veterans and service members, and he's been very helpful. And it was wonderful. We said we were going to do an event, and we asked if he could help, and he said, just bring in the boxes, leave them in our lobby, and I'll make sure people donate food and clothing. And we've been getting cash donations as well, even from strangers, so that's really been helpful.
I want to also add Mr. Dave Meyer, the Green Lizard and the Green Lizard Foundation.
In Herndon.
Right. They have been extraordinarily supportive in our efforts. In the next segment, we would talk about that December clothing and food drive as to how successful that was. But they've been so awesome in terms of their support for us, as well as my friends out in Riverside Research Defense, as well as Federal. They came out and they oversaw the whole distribution of the clothing. It's pretty amazing as well. We also have
group, the Good Barbecue. Where was that?
Oh, Mission Barbecue. Also, we
And-
forgot about them. They've been
Well,
very helpful.
I didn't forget about
Okay,
that.
okay.
But,
Yeah, they've been a
but
wonderful partner.
The Mission Barbecue out in Herndon, Holly, as well as Mr. Matthew,
Yeah, Matthew.
they are our committee ambassadors. So they're on our executive team of the Stars and Stripes Nova Committee, and I can't tell you how grateful we are to have them as well as a sponsor. They have been with us, all through this year, providing food in support of the troops, our meetings. They even fed us for all our events. I mean, extraordinarily supportive in our events.
Yeah.
I want to give a shout out as well to the LA Fitness folks. They came out and support us. They allow us to place these boxes at their fitness location to have product brought in support of that event. So it's pretty awesome.
And what's great about us starting Langer Consulting and now Stars and Stripes Nova Committee, we've worked with some really extraordinary people who are really selfless and want to help veterans. We've been working with Colonel Steve Zappella, who's a retired Ranger, and for some reason when he left the Army, he decided to go back to college and become a psychiatrist to help other veterans who have PTSD and mental health. And he's even worked with some of the veterans who had like Parkinson's, because there's a correlation between mental health and physical health. So we're trying to work on with him on that.
Yeah. I wanted to make sure we gave you enough time to give shout outs to the sponsors and the partners out there.
Right.
Oh, and I also, the Food Bank of Washington has also been very helpful. And we've had a number of individuals who, it's been great, they've come up, and I had one woman who thanked us so much, and she said, can I donate some money? And I said, are you sure you can help us? She said, would it be okay if I gave you $5? And I said, that would be terrific. And other people have given us 20. We had one man from West Virginia, and he gave us $50, and he said, what you're doing is fantastic.
Right.
I just want to throw in Wegmans. They have been a strategic sponsor for all events as well. Giant Foods, Wendy out there, she's a powerhouse.
Okay.
She gave us at least 300 pounds of dry food to support this. And then, the women giving back. Cindy, there are two Cindys out in Sterling. They're amazing. They gave us 20 boxes of clothing to support that event we can talk about in the next session.
Okay. Thank you. We'll get to the events and all the great things the folks at Stars and Stripes are doing. Catch us back after this public service announcement.
Every day across America, excess food is gathered by a network of good people at local food banks, giving hope to millions of children who struggle with hunger. They've earned their wings, and you can too. Together, we can solve child hunger. Support Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
Hi, I'm Josh Temple. You might have seen me on TV where I help folks turn their houses into dream homes. But forget construction. Parenting is the toughest job there is. So when you need help or advice, turn to the parenting experts at Boys Town.
I was afraid of that.
Well, guess it's time to get you fixed.
Your pets will start fooling around sooner than you think.
Go on, get out of here!
Accidental litters lead to millions killed in shelters each year. Help prevent more. Fix at month 4.
Food. It nourishes, brings us together, and adds flavor to life. That's why it's important to wash hands, surfaces, and fresh produce. Keep raw meat, poultry, and seafood separate from ready-to-eat foods like fruits and vegetables. And cook to proper temperatures using a food thermometer. Enjoy, and refrigerate leftovers within 2 hours. For more tips on safely preparing foods, visit homefoodsafety.org.
We're back to the Inside Scoop. Here again, your host.
Hi folks, Cesar here, back with you in Studio C, and my very special guests, the folks from the Stars and Stripes NOVA Committee. Gentlemen, thank you for staying around.
Thank you.
You've done some great work. People, I think, know a little bit about what the organization's about, but talk about some of the events you've done, and then we can talk about like plans for future events, because this really is a segment that needs some assistance, right?
Absolutely. And what's great is, we're a very young organization, I guess about a year and a half old, and our committee members are really committed, and we've already done 2 golf events, and what we're trying to do is create visibility of what's happening to veterans and also to help us raise funds. Now we're concentrating to helping the Herndon area. We both live in Herndon, and on December 2nd we started with the food and clothing distribution, and then in 2024 we have 2 more golf events, one at Memorial Day, and we're hoping to raise funds so we can progress with some of the programming we want to do. And
now I got to interject there, that Herndon one made the paper. You're in the connection here, so big event there, 26,000 pounds of non-perishable and produce distributed.
Yeah.
Impressive.
Well, we did our due diligence. I talked to so many volunteers and other nonprofit staff members who had done a food distribution, and they said, the one thing we wish we had was fresh fruit, vegetables. Everybody asked. I mean, non-perishable is great too, but a lot of families, they would want. So I talked to my colleagues in contact at the food bank in Washington. They were able to give us 12,000 pounds of onions, carrots, potatoes, and cabbage. And I have to tell you, the carrots and potatoes were really large. And, they went really fast. I think everybody really enjoyed that. And I have to, again, give a shout out not only to Goya, but to local donors who gave us food and also clothing. We had nonprofit groups that I had never even known about coming. We had a wonderful group of women from a defense contractor who said, would you mind if we brought 100 winter coats? We said no, and they were gone in about 20 minutes. Yeah. And other people brought clothing for women and children, and we had clothing for infants, children, men and women, and it went pretty fast. And I'm so grateful to all of the volunteers, especially Friday when we did what I call kitting. We had to put together all the bags of food and separate the clothing. And we had this one wonderful African-American woman who said she read about our event on our Facebook, and her husband was a Marine. And she said, I can't come Saturday because I have a family outing, but could I come another day? And we said, come Friday. And she was there about 4 or 5 hours bagging food. Yeah. And she said, I have to do something for the Marines and for the vets. And I thought that was fantastic.
Yeah. That was an amazing event. So thanks for coordinating and putting that together. I think it really served the community quite well.
Yeah, 100%. We were a little concerned about getting the food there because, we needed these big trucks with pallet movers, and these companies, we had one trucking company who said, yeah, we'll do it pro bono, and they brought a big flatbed truck filled with 14,000 pounds of food from the Richmond area from Goya, and they helped set it up for us. And then our volunteers started breaking down the food. And I have to tell you, groups like Goya, Giant were tremendous. Goya gave us food that I didn't even know they had. They gave us, Vienna sausages and canned meats. They gave us spaghetti. They gave us tomato sauce. They gave us cookies. Yeah. It was just tremendous. And, I think it was great that we had the clothing segment because people really needed the clothing.
Yeah, that was humbling to see.
And I told you earlier, I had met this really wonderful Army veteran. He said, my family really needs food. And I said, well, thanks for your service. Please get in line. And I said, after you get your food, just go around back in the other parking lot. We have clothing. And about 30 minutes later, I saw him and his family, and they had bags of food and bags of clothing. It really made me feel good.
Yeah, that's what it's about.
Yeah.
It is, we're coming up on Jesus' birthday, so.
Yeah.
Yes,
like,
of course.
Yeah,
the December's, 2 December Stars and Stripes Nova Committee Clothing and Food Drive was the most significant event for us, the committee, but also as well for the community in Herndon. You know, like you said, Mr. Councilman, you're a strategic advisor on our committee. So as the Vice Mayor, he's another strategic advisor in our committee. Primarily, you know, we want to help the town, and I think the significance of this clothing and food distribution helping folks in need was a very humble experience for my team and I. You know, folks came out, you were there with us early, you know, 0800, we were on the ground. We started bringing stuff out in a setting. Folks were already out there, and we started the distribution before the 10:00 a.m. Time. So, you know, we needed to get that stuff out, and you know, I can't tell you how my team and I are so honored to be part of what we're doing. In moving forward, we look forward to working with yourself as well as the town of Herndon on some of our future 2024 events. Like Mr. Phillip indicated, we have on Memorial Day.
Yeah, let's talk about that.
We are intending to host 9 holes of golf, 9 out at Herndon Centennial, if that happens.
We'll make it happen.
It'll happen.
Followed by Mission Barbecue spread for the folks as well. And the brass will be there as well to give us, you know, a warm welcome in terms of the significance of the Memorial Day weekend. In moving forward, we also would like to host a full 18 holes charity golf tournament in August, 26 August, followed by a Veterans Day event, as well as a repeat of the clothing and food distribution again. So we see a lot of potential coming downrange in terms of how the town can support us, but those are discussions we need to continue to have to see what's achievable and what's not. So
and what we say on the committee, you know, it's important to help other veterans and first responders, but we also like to have fun and make all of our events joyous, because you're helping out your fellow man. So we're, you know, if anybody wants to come out and help us with our 2 golf events and maybe pay for a team or donate money in any way, we'll take any donation, because it'll help you know, our fellow residents here in Herndon, especially the veterans and the first responders and their families. And you know, what's great about the Stars and Stripes Nova is we've had so many people coming saying they want to help us, strangers even, and I think it's great that we're starting to build this like family or a community here in Herndon. And the other thing I should say is, I know we've talked about this before, Herndon is such a diverse community, and our, you know, we had about maybe 20 or 25 volunteers who came out Friday and Saturday, and they included, you know, African American, Latino, Hispanic. We even had members from the Ukrainian community, and also those that came for food and clothing were the full spectrum. And it really shows, you know, what a close-knit community is and how diverse this community is.
And a lot of people want to help veterans and military families.
Yeah.
First responders. I mean, you can see and you can tell. I mean, for me personally, it's a humbling thing, again, to thank a veteran and thank the families for their service. And I mean, we can have another discussion our next time when you guys come back, what else we can do to service that community. I mean, it's just, there's such a need, and the more we can do, you know, I think you'll have more than enough support going forward.
Yeah, because here in Herndon, whenever we stopped, like at a company or a corporation to see if they would help us, and we talked to somebody, I would say about 85 to 90% of them would say, oh, I was in the Navy, or I was in the Marines, or I was in the Army, or even the Coast Guard. And we said, great. So
and if they're not, there's a family member, right? You mentioned the foundation, the Green Lizard Foundation.
Right.
Their son is currently
in the
deployed,
Navy.
right?
Yeah.
So,
and, you know, as it said in the paper, we had about, you know, we weren't sure how many people we would have, but they came early around 8:30, 8:45. At the end of the day, I think we had about 2,500 people we helped.
Yeah, you were mentioning it didn't start till 10, but they were lining up at like 8:30, 8:45.
100%, yes, sir.
Yeah. Which was just, I mean,
yeah, it shows you the need, because you know, we told people in all of our distribution and social media that the event would be 10 to 4. Most of the a lot of people came 8:30, 8:45. I would say by noon or 12:30, just about everything was gone.
Yeah.
So it really shows you the need.
So we got to make this an annual event, right?
100%, sir. Yes, and you know, we are looking for other nonprofit organizations to who have an interest in what we are doing, and if they would like to play in the sandbox with us, they are welcome to do so.
Now, what's the best way to connect with the committee? Is there an email, guys?
Yeah, we just sent an email to Stephen. Please contact him. That would be great. And you know, we didn't want to be remiss again. I wanted to thank you and to the vice chair. You guys were fantastic, and also to everybody at the Green Lizard. They were terrific.
I say to all our volunteers who came out early o'clock to help us, the days before, the folks on my team who were involved 5 months out, 6 months out, to bring that event to where it is, our sponsors. You know, this event, we could not have pulled this out without the support from all these pieces that came together to support this. So,
and you know, I have to say, on Friday when we were putting together the bags near the end, the last hour or two, it was pouring rain, and our volunteers stayed. They were a hardy group, and they really wanted to help.
Well, it's one of the most just and honorable causes out there. So,
thank you
again. Thank you all for coming. Thank you all for what you're doing and what you will continue to do. So the plan is to bring you all back sooner rather than later and talk about all the other successes we're going to have.
Thank you, Mr. Councilman. We look forward to it, and we appreciate your support as a strategic advisor on our Stars and Stripes Committee.
Thank you, folks.